All right, welcome to the Technique Tuesday Breakdown. I'm your host, Jim Carucci, here today with a very special guest, two-time All American Mitch Minotti, one of my teammates at Lehigh. How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing great, Jim. Great to see your face. And for all those who don't know Jim on the call, say he's probably one of the hardest workers I've ever dealt with in the room. He probably never knew this, but and I think he got a little bit smarter on me. But he used to ask me to wrestle in the locker room, and I used to try to knowingly duck him because I knew that was going to be 90 minutes of hard hand fighting starting at the first drill of practice. But I think he got a little bit smarter and started asking me to practice before. So, you really can't get away from this guy. So he's got me on the screen here today, and I'm looking forward to being with you.
Well, I appreciate that, Mitch. That means a lot to me. You're likewise one of the hardest working guys I've met, and you're also a really good teammate, a really good friend, and really successful person. So you're a year younger than me, but someone that I also kind of look up to. So I appreciate that a lot.
Thanks, brother.
Let's get into it. Mitch was a PIAA state champ at Easton High School, great program, and he parlayed that into a very successful career at Lehigh, where he won All-American honors twice. He's also very accomplished off the mat, earning NWCA All-Academic Team honors multiple times. Mitch had a lot of successes in his career, and I've seen up close and personal his work ethic, his toughness. And so we're going to try to get inside the mind of an All-American and really see what makes Mitch tick and what really fuels his success, so that the younger guys watching this can learn from it and try to replicate his success. So let's start off with some simple things. When did you start wrestling, and what made you really enjoy wrestling that kept you in it?
Sure. I would say I probably started wrestling a lot earlier than a lot of people. So back in where I grew up, called the Lehigh Valley, wrestling was the sport. A hotbed of wrestling on the East Coast. We had a lot of high schools that were, ranked in the top 10 across the country. So really grew up around wrestling at a really young age. But probably if I had to put a year to it, it'd be about 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, so that's a common theme I see, especially with Pennsylvania boys. You guys start young and really crush it, and it shows with all the tricks you guys build up over the years. I was sort of an import from New York. I kind of got to experience that firsthand, where a lot of me and a lot of the other guys from New York, maybe were later bloomers. We're certainly tough, but not quite as crafty as UPA boys. So I definitely noticed that. I'm just curious. You had Jordan Oliver in your program, didn't you?
Yeah.
A lot. He was probably one of the guys you looked up to.
Oh yeah, watching him wrestle was absolutely amazing. I mean, definitely one of the the people that came through our high school program that I idolized. And I think a lot of my wrestling style, I tried to mimic him as much as I could. With definitely never going to be as fast as Jordan, but try to pick up a thing here or there just from watching him is definitely a positive.
And that's a common theme I see once again in really successful guys. That when they're around someone that they know, has really got it, like Jo, they're soaking up every minute of it. And I actually got exposed to Jo when I was in high school. I went to a couple of Oklahoma State camps, and I was fortunate enough. I was one of the better guys that even got to do like extra reps with him, and some of the All American guys from the All American college guys, and that's just something you got to soak up.
Oh yeah.
At every opportunity. So that's really awesome that you kind of had that built into your room and built into your program. So
yeah.
If you had to distill your success into one thing, what would that really be?
I mean, I'm sure you could put a lot of things to it. I think it would be just a natural competitiveness and drive inside myself. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that reach the pinnacle in all sports, they really hate losing. I can say that's something that has always crossed my mind. Always wanted to work harder than somebody else. I really strived off of the competition. If I could say a few other things, which I can say has been fortunate in regards to my success, being able to turn it on when it matters. I think the bigger the stage, the more maybe the more nerves you get, but those nerves that you get, the way that I used to frame it is just the bigger the opportunity that you have to do something great. So, for all those young wrestlers out there, you're always going to be a little anxious. You're always going to get nerves, but when you get that feeling, that's truly the feeling that you have the opportunity to do something great. Nobody ever broke a world record or, beat somebody who was ranked number one in the country without having those feelings before the match, right? So, or before the competition. And I would say a lot of that is just framing it in your mind and, every day, just keeping that in the back of your head.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I got to experience firsthand that competitiveness on the rare occasion that I was able to take down Mitch. I got a flurry of a lot of response takedowns in return. So I definitely noticed that about you and about a lot of other successful people. That's something that's a common theme. Once again, just the competitive nature and hating to lose and always wanting to kind of earn it every day and prove it to yourself every day. And I definitely see that in you and in other people that are successful in wrestling and in life. So I definitely appreciate that, the champion mindset. And the match we're breaking down today is a perfect example of what you're talking about. You're in the Midlands finals, on a really big stage. You were a redshirt freshman, so it was one of your first opportunities to compete in a tournament like that, and you were on a roll. I remember that match. I was actually in the stands. I remember that clearly, and that was really impressive what you were able to do in that tournament as a whole, but also specifically in that match under the lights.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a match that holds dear to me, a tournament that holds dear to me. Just speaking a little bit on that competitiveness, I remember going home for Christmas with the family, and my dad's asking me, hey, how do you feel about Midlands? I said, hey, no, I'm going to win the tournament. He said, yeah, you're not going to win the tournament. And right there was that challenge that I needed to prove him wrong. So, it was bittersweet than when I was fortunate enough to get that victory in the end there.
There's nothing like a challenge from Dad. I've had experience too. My challenges were a little bit more nerdy. Like, he challenged me that I couldn't learn Chinese, and so that was a thing for me. But that's even better. Yours is a little more badass than mine was. But so to frame this for other people, the match that we're going to be breaking down is your 2013 Midlands Finals match. So for those of you that don't know, the Midlands is a very elite tournament, and it's one of the toughest pre-NCAA tournaments there is. Like Mitch said, it's during Christmas break when everyone is able to travel, and you're getting people from far and wide. So as a team, we went out to Chicago as a team to Lehigh. Mitch had a really phenomenal tournament there, and I actually remember, once again, from watching this from the stands, my heart was pumping. This was a really exciting match. And Mitch's opponent was Eric Grajales from Michigan, who likewise was on a roll, really good wrestler. So you kind of alluded to it, Mitch. Your mindset was very confident going into this tournament as a whole. Before this match, what was your mindset like?
Sure. I mean, so in regards to the Midlands tournament, that second day where you're wrestling in those championship rounds, being in the finals, you have a pretty long break. So that was, especially after a decent night weight cut, with that extra pound allowance. But had a really good amount of time throughout the day to really focus on this match. I can definitely say I was anxious, but at the end of the day, I was definitely having fun. If you narrow it down, I would say I was just extremely focused, and having the opportunity to wrestle Eric again, which we actually wrestled the year before in Midlands, and he had beat me in the blood round, around the place. So there was some revenge on my mind in regards to that. And I knew it would be a really hard fought match. Eric's extremely talented and is really dangerous with a few different moves. And I'm sure you'll see that in the match here. But yeah, very, very positive going in. I knew I had to stay calm throughout the whole day. You really want to just work yourself up and get all amped for the 7-minute match that you're going to wrestle at night. It's really important to keep your cool, to be able to keep your energy levels at a high, eat right, Make sure you warm up your body. So there was a lot that went into the preparation as well, especially with that amount of time going into the match. But yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know that that you had wrestled Eric before. I didn't know if you'd run into him before. So I guess that's kind of parlays into my next question. What did you see in your opponent? What did you know before the match, and how did that affect your game plan, how you were approaching the match?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'd watched film on him. I'd wrestled him before. I know he digs in underhooks from neutral. He has a really good cradle and hooks your leg on top. That was something that I was aware of going in. So really, from a mindset perspective, no cradles, do anything I have to do to get at to make sure I'm not putting my body in a position where it's towards his strength. And then I knew I had to get to my strengths in my offense. So just staying fast, staying on his head, crowding him, and really just wrestling a sound match, as opposed to overly attacking to the point where I'm opening myself up for some easy reshots and playing into his type of game plan. So can't speak to what was going through his head, but I was trying to stay in good solid position. When I did become offensive and look for a takedown on my feet, it was to keep moving, clearing ties, stay on his head, and then top and bottom on the mat, have to get out and avoid the cradle. So that was just a little bit from that prior experience wrestling there.
Yeah, and I previewed the match, and I saw a lot of the same things you're talking about. We're going to jump into the match here and get into the details for the younger guys, kind of show them how you see things and how you analyze the film when you look at it.
Sure.
So we're going to jump into that. All right, guys, so we're going to jump into the Refine app, and we're going to break down Mitch's film and really get into the mind of how an All-American like Mitch thinks about film study and analyzes the film and what he sees. So we're going to start off. We're in the first period. There's some really good hand fighting. Then we're going to get to a point where we're going to see some of Grajales' strengths that Mitch alluded to earlier. So the situation is at 0-0. Mitch has been hand fighting with Grajales, and Grajales is starting to look for some of his tie-ups there. All right, so Mitch, tell us what you see in this little sequence here.
A good clear tie as to what I was looking for. Right there, looks like he's going for a Russian on my left arm. Blocks my knee, which definitely makes it challenging. Right here, I'm just looking to get out of bounds. Right there with that cradle, that's going to be obviously not ideal. Against the game plan, watch out for the cradle there. But at this point, I'm just looking to get out of bounds. He's a crafty wrestler. Knowing that going in, really I wanted to stay outside and really control ties and be able to hit and move. So that was a great move by Eric, blocking my knee, almost like an outside trip type to a single. So really, really tough to defend. He had me on the ropes. I will say, right at this point right here, I begin to relax on the edge a little bit. And that's something you can't do in college wrestling, and especially not in, a finals match where everything's on the line here. So, looking back, right, have to keep wrestling, circle the center, and look to be the one to shoot out and to maintain that position. I relaxed on the edge, and, you live and die by that, right? So
yeah, and to me, what it looks like is really happening here is right before he does the sag toss to you. He's tying you up with the Russian. I actually don't see the relaxation. Only you know if you relax, right, in your head. But in my head, really what I'm seeing here, Mitch, is that you're trying to keep your head low because you're probably anticipating a shot, and he's kind of messing around. It's not quite a front headlock. He's probably thinking like a front headlock, and then he's coming and kind of doing kind of like an arm drag on you. And what you're doing is you're feeling that Russian, you're feeling the left arm being attacked, so you're stepping hard with to the right leg, and then that's when he's feeling the sag toss, and that's why he's able to block your leg. So that's in a lot of ways, maybe you relaxed, I don't know, but to me, this was more so something that Grajales did really well, and it was something bad that you did, and you almost recover, you almost get out of this scot-free, but then he's really crafty at the end here, and thinks to snatch up that cradle to ensure that he gets the takedown.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to fast forward. You've gone back and forth with Grajales a few times. I think you've done a few resets, and now you're starting to get into crunch time in the first period. There's 40 seconds left. You got to get that escape because you can't allow him to finish on top for this period. So I think once again, if you look at the still, you can see that he's got your ankle hooked and he's looking for that cradle, that dangerous cradle like you're talking about. I'll let you take it from here, Mitch.
Yeah, Jim, he was riding my right ankle, and that was something I anticipated. So what I was looking for, and it's definitely challenging, but you have to be able to knee slide that ankle out of that pocket. If I turn into the right there, I'm turning right into a cradle. So you'll see here, this is where I can finally get that free. I know I'm going to knee drop here, and I know that I have to turn my hips over as he's chasing. So I mean, that's a huge point of emphasis where, you have to be able to turn your hips and in maybe a few different ways. But I know earlier in that period, I had tried similar combination, and just some hesitation and timing, is going to allow you to get held down there. So right here, it worked out. I was able to knee slide, change my hips over, get to my feet, and back to the position that I wanted to be. Unfortunately, I know we racked up riding time here, so that's something I was going to have to get back later in the match. But all in all, that knee slide change, you'll see right here, switch, now weight down on his head, back up to neutral.
Yeah, really great textbook stuff. Like I said earlier, it's about if you and I don't know if this is the way you think about it. You probably intuitively do this. But you want to be rotating and coming up at the same time. So you want to kind of be spiraling up. So you're kind of creating chaos by rotating on him and knee sliding, doing other things, and getting your handles back. But you're also rotating, making it hard for him to follow you while you're coming up. And eventually you're able to hit that nice knee slide followed by a changeover, get your hips free, and there's really nothing you can do there. You end up getting your one. That's just textbook sound wrestling from bottom.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So to frame this, this is the second period. You actually chose neutral, which I want to talk to you about in a second. You chose neutral, and you had to work him for a little bit, and now there's about 40 seconds left, and you're really starting to back him down. You can kind of see Grajales, maybe he's getting a little tired and backing up. First off, Mitch, why did you choose neutral in the second period? What were you thinking at that point in the match?
Yeah, I mean, always taking counsel from the coaches in the corner, but I felt pretty confident on my feet. Despite him getting a takedown in the first period, it's just one of those. He had riding time on me. If I choose down, and he rides me out for another 20, 30 seconds, he's almost locking in riding time. And now going up essentially 3-2, and really taking the opportunity out of my, taking the ball out of my court in regards to being able to try to score, by riding that ankle. So I wanted to try to eliminate that and be able to focus on, being able to push some pace, and really wear him down, and really get to my leg attacks. So I knew they were there. I could feel they were there, before. And I think it's just a strategy call in regards to, knowing what your opponent has and how you feel in the middle of the match. And I thought neutral was the right call there.
Yeah, and not to give anything away about the end of the match for those who haven't seen it yet, but that ends up really paying off what you're saying about making sure that you're wearing him down. Because, what I noticed, especially at the college level, is, really when you're on top, you're kind of getting a break. I mean, it's not like you're not wrestling hard, but it's not you're not burning nearly as much energy when you're on neutral, having to defend a lot of shots against a guy who's really good. Got a really good single leg like you, Mitch, and you're also you don't feel the weight of the other guy on top of you from top. You're kind of getting a break. So by choosing neutral, you kind of took that break away from him, and you're saying, I'll give up the one escape that I might get in exchange for having more time to work on it from neutral, and it ends up sort of paying off here.
So this is a point in the match where I knew I had a score at the end of the second period here to get myself in the best position to win. So right here, just looking at hand fighting, he steps right into that bread and butter sweep single. Right here, I'm trying to get the corner. Now I put him up the middle. And what I'm looking to do here, he has my arm tied up, so I'm looking to dump him on his head to just create a little separation. You can see with his hand goes to hit the mat, and that's where I'm looking for a Turk here. With the new college rules, knowing that if I collect 2 feet, that should be 2 right there, just based on those new rules. And from right there, I was just waiting for 2, hold that position. That puts me in a good position to go up 3-2. He's still leading with riding time, headed into the third period.
Yeah, and that's really great. And there's a subtle point there that even I didn't catch. Your strategy when you're when you got him lifted like that is you're trying to pull him to the side so that you still have control of his leg, but you're trying to get him to touch his arm on the mat to stabilize himself. And by doing that, you get your other arm free, and you're able to get both legs, or sorry, both hands around both legs.
Yep, and you can see that right there. His right arm comes out right when I dump his head onto the mat. That allows me to get 2 hands to the leg and pull that in just enough to get to that second foot there for that takedown.
Yeah, and that's great. And once again, that's your strategy of taking neutral, paying off. You're able to work on them for about a minute, wear them down a little bit, get in on your really good single, get your takedown, and you run them out. So paid off in a big way. And this is a really pivotal point in the match. Okay, so we're tied up in the third period. You're looking for a takedown. You feel like you got a big advantage on neutral, so you're really trying to press the issue here. Take it away, Mitch.
So right here, I'm looking for that same shot deep into the third period. He's been giving me that left leg. So right here, I'm looking to turn the corner and getting put right back into that same position in the second period. So I look to go same strategy. And if you want to pause that right there, Jim, and just draw that back for. So I actually intend to dump him onto his back there. Really, with short time, I was looking to create a flurry and give myself an opportunity to come out on top here. So I knew that the way he had my arm locked, likely going to result in a stalemate or making it very hard to finish. So right here, I just wanted to create some type of scramble with my body on top of him, with a slight advantage here. So as you see, it plays out. If you press play right here, I'm now looking to come back up and collect those 2 legs, almost have it. But you can see he's doing a really good job keeping his hips on top of my neck, on top of my head. And that's why they don't award the points here. Definitely close. But right here, I knew that, hey, you need to shake that off. We're going into sudden victory. There's nothing you can do. And just keep looking forward there.
Yeah, and to add to what you're saying, it really looked like you were almost bluffing. The ref was in really good position, almost calling a defensive pin there. Looked like you almost had him, actually. And by bluffing like that, you were able to at least give yourself another chance to collect both legs. Fortunately, you weren't able to. So it ended up being essentially a stalemate, and then you end up into sudden victory. All right, so now we're gonna jump into probably the scramble of the match, maybe even the scramble of your career, Mitch. This is a really good one by you, but we're sort of at the end of the match. So We're in sudden victory. You have failed to get your escape during your time on bottom, so you're really trying to ride him out here. He does a good job getting a jump off the whistle and jumping free here, escaping. And now there's about 20 seconds left, and now you're really sort of desperate for points here. So you end up going out of bounds right after that escape, and now you got about 12, 15 seconds left to get the takedown. So he's sort of backing up because he knows he's got it locked up, and you feel him, and then you kind of swing to that single, boom, get two. It almost looked like it was your off leg. Was that your off leg?
Yeah, that was opposite leg single. I knew he was waiting for that same sweep single that I had shot all match. I knew I had to change it up. So really, I laid out for that ankle and anticipated that he was going to look to either circle or kick away. And thankfully was able to collect that ankle, immediately turn the corner and climb up his hips.
Yeah, and this is just phenomenal. This is why you never give up. There was really no time left at all, and I was in the stands. I know how excited I was for you because I was starting to give up some hope. It kind of looked like he had strong defense there after he denied you that takedown at the end of the third period. But really great job being adaptable and just feeling that he was kind of selling out to protect his left leg. That you've been attacking all match, and you were able to change it up. So let me ask you: do you practice shooting both legs, or is that was just you kind of laying out improvising?
No, did definitely practice a shot similar to that, that was just something that you have to go to. I mean, I think it's you're always going to have your strengths and your bread and butter in a time of needing the score, but you're going to need to be able to make those adjustments and make changes mid-match if you want to get to the next level there. That was something early on in my career. I really kind of stayed in my lane and with my my attacks that I was most comfortable with, and as I progressed, being able to have more more tricks up your sleeve, more more attacks in your arsenal, to be able to fire those when you need them, and to be able to keep your opponents off guard, I think is a huge part of elevating your game. You definitely never want to be a one-trick pony. So right there paid off, and just a simple clear to the right side of his to his left arm, and I'm just coming down and basically sweeping my right arm down towards his ankle, and allows me to collect that and climb up the legs. I will say, when I walk back to the center with that 15 seconds left, I'm thinking if I'm him, I would have ran and got a hot dog. Thankfully, I was able to close the gap enough. I knew they were giving out Flips headphones to the winners, and back then that was a big deal. And I sure needed a new pair of headphones. So honestly, 16 seconds left. I was thinking, I can't believe I'm going to miss out on a free pair of headphones. So I think that was my ulterior motivation.
That's the key to victory. That's the champion. So do it for the headphones. Well, phenomenal, Mitch. This is really informative. I certainly learned a lot from being able to sit down with you and break down this film and really get into your head and see how an All-American thinks about these things and really approaches film study and approaches technique and mindset and everything in between. So really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Hope to have you back maybe another time, breaking down some more film with us. But thanks for sitting down with us, Mitch.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim, and have me back anytime. We'd love it.
Thanks, guys, for tuning into the Technique Tuesday Breakdown. I hope you enjoyed yourself and learned something you can take and use for your own Mat Rat exploits. If you enjoyed this video, give us a follow or a subscribe so you can catch future installments where we break down film with elite wrestlers and get insight into how they think. The app we use to break down the film is called Refine, available on the App Store. If you or someone you know is serious about reaching a high level in wrestling, film study is an essential habit. The Refine app makes it simple and efficient to keep all your team's film in the cloud so you can make film study a regular part of your regimen. Take away the excuses and ensure you never leave another coachable moment on the mat. Check it out in the App Store or at www.refine.com/download. Thanks again for tuning in. Stay safe and stay wrestling tough. Peace.